practice my reading, woman. I'm gonna come down from the mountain, gonna get me a library card. 'Cause I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows that I am. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows I am. Gonna come down from the mountain, gonna beat you at Scrabble, woman. Gonna come down from the mountain, gonna read the dictionary. Cause I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows that I am. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain. I'm a man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows I am.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Northern Footy Show and our Sunday wrap-up. And as you can tell, we have an absolute full board of guests on the show tonight. We're going to have a ton of fun and run through this. But, Bonners, before we jump into the guests, what a huge weekend in NFNL footy for the men. A few upsets, a few going the way we thought they would go. What's your quick take on that, Matty?
I'm just not surprised anymore. I feel like every week we've got an upset, or we've got every time we tip one that will happen, it goes the opposite way. So I think that every week's if you're 5% off in this competition, you're going to get found out. So some cracking games for the first 7 rounds. It's been amazing, and this weekend was no exception.
I totally agree. Before we kick off into the guest on the weekend, you know, Bonners, we run our footy tipping comp. We get about 100 entries every week. You got to pick the winner and the margin, and it seems someone had a lapse of judgment. I'm not going to name who it was, but they had been banned from the website. They tried to cheat, as you can see. From three-quarter time, they pretty much changed their tips 6 times. But you got to get up a little bit earlier than that to get one over us to win $50. Notwithstanding that, if you are hard up for $50 and you can't afford to eat, there's 5 other guys on this panel that will spot you 50 if you're desperate. You don't need to cheat and rob people from our good sponsors.
I
like how you said you wouldn't shout him though, something.
You wouldn't get it out of Bonners either. He's opened his wallet once in 20 years I've known him, so make no mistake. But we're going to jump into it. Xavier Damasi's actually got to another engagement, so we're going to quickly punch into the Whittlesea captain. Let me give you a quick bio on him. 263 games, 205 goals, 114 of his 263 games he's been in the best. Started the season as the skipper, 7-0. He's been in the best every week and was best on ground yesterday. Top 7 can still make it, in my opinion, Xavier. And you've got the big one versus Diamond Creek this week. I'm going to ask you the hard question here, Xavier, that proper reporters won't ask. Are you just finding this all a little bit too easy, this game of footy?
Yeah, at the moment we are.
I like it.
Obviously, when we drop back down, we sort of find our feet a little bit and settle in quite easy. But it's been good. It's been a hot start to the year. Boys are on. Place is buzzing, everyone's happy. So, yeah, it just goes to show what happens when, everyone starts enjoying it again and we're all on the same page that we can play some good footy and win games, which is probably the most important thing. We haven't obviously won. Like last year, we didn't win a game and sort of been few and far between years before. So, yeah, it's just good to be winning and, yeah, it's good to have good momentum at the moment.
So coming down, I always find that the team coming down, we've had this discussion over and over, it's very difficult to stay up. What do you see as the biggest difference between Division 1, Division 2, and what can you work on this year that, with the hope to get back up next year, how you can make a difference?
Just probably the consistency. Like even I guess we had Lorimer round 1 and, we're we're no number one seed just yet, but even when we played Lima round 1, I think even they noticed the difference between Div 3 and Div 2, and then obviously Div 2 to Div 1. So probably like have a look at Banyul that have sort of gone up a couple of years ago, and they're stayed up, and they're sort of mixing it with the good sides at the moment. So it is just a big drop, and I just don't think people appreciate the difference in between divisions and in how hard it is to sort of stay up. And I think you do need to recruit. You do need to get a few sort of some key players in to sort of help you build from your foundations of what you got from the footy club, from your juniors and blokes that have been around for a while. But just your consistency, I reckon, is your number one.
I'm having a look at the ladder as we speak, and you've got yourselves, which are even with Diamond Creek, so both undefeated, and you play each other this week. What's the mentality that goes into this? Because you're really going to have a little bit of bragging rights. I know it means nothing until you get to the big dance, but it is good to get one over someone leading into finals. You don't want to go into that granny 0-2 through the year. What's the thought that goes into there?
Yeah, no, all systems go. Just hopefully we just rock up, fire all cylinders, and get the job done. Yeah, we want to win every game, and Gary's been adamant from the get-go. So yeah, just hopefully looking for another win and just keep building on some of the footy that we're starting to play. We probably showcased at our best against South on Saturday. So yeah, hopefully we can just keep the train rolling.
Mm-hmm. And going into the preseason this year, you're talking about coming down, not winning a game. How did you find it going into the new preseason? Did you go out and start recruiting now, looking to get your team better? Did you change the way you did things? Did you have a good chat about coming down? What were the kind of preseason go?
Yeah, probably like Danny. I don't really do preseason, so we're pretty much the same. So
you're my new favourite player.
A few of the senior boys had to get there a little bit earlier this year, so that was.
He knows you well, Danny.
But it was good. We sort of just it was all chips in once sort of we got Gary on board and Spider. It was just sort of all chips in, and everyone just sort of head down, bum up, and we knew we had a lot of work to do and still do. So. Especially from the senior core group, we just said we want to make sure that we're being seen at training and seen being the hardest workers. So that would probably be the only main thing. But like tactically and I guess the game plan side of things, we sort of leave that to the coaches and do as we're told. And as you can see, it's sort of paying dividends at the moment. So we'll just keep focused on that.
Now, Matty W, we're going to have to Bonners. You're going to be Bonners for the night, but Matty W and Keenan, you're both in the same position. You're both undefeated going into what advice have we got here for Xavier? He's in Division 2. We're not going to come up against him this year. What advice are you giving him leading into playing top of the table clash to remain undefeated?
Maybe one thing: wear the same training kit you've worn every week that you've won.
Superstitions.
Only advice. But yeah, I don't know. Xavier knows. Xavier's been in teams that have won before and done really well. So I guess the games against the top sides are the ones you want to win. And usually what happens is if you stick to your game plan as much as you can against the top sides, it usually does work. So hopefully they can do that on Saturday.
Matt,
have you had the opportunity to kind of watch any of the Diamond Creek games? Have you seen any of the footage playing against them? Because we've seen a couple of their games, and they are a very well drilled team. Have you kind of seen anything that you might need to work on this weekend?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure come sort of Tuesday and Thursday, Gary will show us a bit, just like he did against South. We sort of had a look at their game plan and had a bit of a look at them on the Thursday night. So I'm assuming we'll sort of run through something very similar against Dymo and have a look. But personally, I haven't had a look at them or whatnot. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, I guess, how we shape up against them. It should be a cracking game.
Willow, you're going to be in a very similar position, aren't you? Because undefeated, you've actually already taken on Mernda, who is a red-hot favourite to win the flag, or maybe not red-hot anymore. I would just say equal favourite with you guys. How did you guys go into that Mernda game, Matt, knowing that, this was a good statement game?
Oh, I think it's a big round one game. Like they beat us last year, they touched us up, and they were touching us up at halftime too. So look, they're probably right up there, and they've proved that last year. So they're well drilled. They've got a good coaching lineup with Fletch and Kingy there. So
Yeah.
You know, it's I think that's what it comes down to. Like with what Xavier was saying, you know, they'll be in that game this week, they've got two good, well-drilled teams in Diamond Creek and Whittlesea. Like AT runs a tight ship at Dymo, and I know Gary Ramsey runs a tight ship too. So I think that's pretty important.
I've been to one Whittlesea game versus Lorimer, and I've got to tell you, I've never seen Gary Ramsey look so relaxed in his life. I think he's lost a bit of the screaming component of him, Xavier. Have you had a spray from him yet?
Yeah, we copped an absolute ripper against who was it? I think it was Lowell Plenty, actually. Halftime at Lowell Plenty. Yeah, a few of the locals reckon they heard that back at Whittlesea. So that was a nice rev up that we got. But yeah, and it was probably deserved as well. We were playing pretty average up until the halftime. So no, we responded quite well in the second half and ran away with it. But yeah, I think Gaz is, he doesn't have much hair left. So I think coaching stressed him out enough, and Spider's starting to go grey. So yeah, we're trying our best anyway.
And Danny, what's your words of wisdom? You've only played 20 games more than Xavier, and I don't want to put you down here, but he's kicked 230 more goals than you, Danny. What's going on here? Is it not a good time to bring that up?
Is that Demazi? He's a good player, man. So I'll cop that on the chin. No dramas at all. But I haven't got much advice, especially with what we're going through this year. But yeah, just same to exactly what Posar said. So you just stick to the process and do what you got to do. But I am keen to know, because I respect Gary Ramsey like most people do around the whole Northern Footy League. So I'm keen to know what he sort of added to the group and what he brings day to day. And you got the privilege to work with him, being a skipper there. Can you give us a bit of an insight what he's like day to day?
He's just very methodical in everything he does, and he doesn't do anything unless he has to. And yeah, in saying that, everything he does has a purpose. So whether it's training, whether it's the way he approaches us, whether it's something that he makes us do sort of outside the Tuesday, Thursday, there's reason behind it. And I think blokes are starting to understand that and really starting to buy into that and seeing the benefits that is coming from that. So working. I hadn't had a lot to do with him prior to him coming to Whittlesea, but since he's come over, I'm just trying to be a sponge and just trying to listen and learn from him as much as possible, because he's done it before, especially in Div 1. So he's just awesome. He knows what he's doing, obviously, but yeah, he's very methodical and very structured in what he does. So I think a lot of boys were looking for something like that, and we're looking for a bit of structure. And now that we've got it, yeah, we're starting to reap the rewards.
There's no doubt he's a superstar coach. Before we let you go, though, Xavier, and we know you've got an engagement you need to get to, let's go through the rest of the Division 2 results. So Watsonia defeated by Thomastown 98-60. Thomastown got the chocolates there and was somewhat expected to, I think, but looks like it wasn't a bad fight. Obviously, you guys really held on to the end 7 points over South Morang, and at South Morang, that's a battle of its own. They don't lose too many games at South Morang, so great win there. Lower Plenty defeated by Diamond Creek. Again, I think that was somewhat expected. Lower Plenty's going pretty well this year, but Diamond Creek are the strongest side. St Mary's had a bit of a scare for a while. Northcote Park, if they're not the best last quarter side across Division 1, 2, 3, I don't know who is. I think they've kicked 21 goals in the last quarters for the year in total. That's amazing.
He's good.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
something across from Heidelberg, Xavier.
Say again. Sorry.
It may be something the Northcote coach has brought from Heidelberg as last quarter specialist. Dan,
yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Matty's got something to say about that. There's been a couple of last quarters down there at old Eltham, so I think Matty might have something to say about that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we go all right in the last quarter.
I've just seen your last quarter against Moonda. I was there. Oh my Lord, that was a nail biter, and it was a ripper. We'll finish off with that one. So Panton Hill defeated Lorimer. I actually thought Lorimer would get the chocolates there, but well done to Panton Hill. They keep putting a few more points on the board, which is important. So Xavier, I know you're going to go. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight, and mate, it's great to have you on. It's going to be a ripper game this week. I can't wait to listen to it or watch it. If we can get down there, we'll get down there. But, mate, best of luck for the rest of the year, and I'm sure you'll be back on indeed in no time.
No, thanks, lads. Thanks for having me. And, all the best for the other boys. And I'll let KP talk about our horse that's on track for the Melbourne Cup this year. So, KP
I like that.
tell you a bit more about our horse. So,
I wouldn't want to lose now, KP.
Come on now. I think it's about 100 to 1. So,
100 to 1. Better rank than mine.
All right, thanks, Hope. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. See you, mate. Take it easy.
So, yeah.
What a ripper fella. I actually haven't met him before, Bonners, but I did speak to someone during the day and said he's a cracker of a guy.
Yeah, no, very good, very energetic, and no wonder he's the captain of a footy club.
No, really, really important. All right, so let's just crack in, boys. If you have to go, just you can go, and if you can hang around, I love the chat between all of you guys. There's a lot of experience in this room, except for Bonners, of course. We don't really rate Bonners too much. He's not a great guy.
You're a bit too hard on him. You're a bit too hard on him, Dad.
This is what jealousy does to you, Danny. This is what jealousy does. You get shown up every week. He's got to put someone down to make him look better. So,
and ironically, it makes me feel so much better. All right, but we're gonna get straight over to Matty Williamson. 348 games. You are just leading the way here, Matty. 348 games, 445 goals. Matty buggered up during the season, spoke to the wrong player, so you got ranked the third best player in the league. 3.1 we call him. 4 goals yesterday. You've been in the best twice this year. Top of the ladder, undefeated, 1 game clear of Fitzroy Stars. Heidelberg West this weekend. Yous were, I think I tipped just to finish 3rd or 4th pre-season. You've shocked me. You guys are equal premiership favourite for me at the moment with Mernda. How's it going?
Yeah, well, it's going well. We've brought a few blokes in that, have helped us out. So we've really strengthened our midfield. Like, brought Caff in, who, has experience across, multiple competitions, obviously. And, and probably brought a couple of other blokes in that have had a lot of experience and we knew would be underrated in, Division 3. So we're going all right.
and how have you found it this year? We've spoken about Division 3 probably more than any other division, I reckon, at this stage, just because of the openness about it. Like we talk about Mernda, your good self, you got Ivanhoe, Old Paradians, Fitzroy Stars. Like it's one of those competitions that every week it's almost like you've got match of the round because there's so many of these top teams. It must be a great division to play in and really testing you guys every week.
Yeah, it's pretty good to be able to drop back down when you get a bit older. That's definitely so. There's been a few blokes come across that have strengthened the competition. Like Sam Gilmore from Heidelberg.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Superstar.
Best on again this weekend.
To be expected, isn't it? And then you've got a few other blokes there's some good footy players getting around, like Selwood. You've had Schultze on. Ivanhoe, they've brought something to the competition. Parade, we've brought something to the competition. Like Benny Turner doesn't often fail, which every club he goes to, he wins a flag. So,
amazing.
Highly underrated coach, I reckon. He coached Lowell Plenty. He was assistant at Banyule 3 years ago. He's so they'll be well drilled. So I'm looking forward to that sort of game. It's pretty open. Look, I think anyone can win it, to be honest. It's probably drops away, obviously, after a few, but that's probably the same in every division. So
you got Heidelberg West coming up this week. Then you've got Old Paradians, and then Kilmore. So you've got actually. There's 3 challenges there. And one thing Bonners and I have said all season is there's just no easy games really in Division 3. I mean, I see Laylaw competing every week. They're only losing by 20, 30 points, and then they're winning a couple. You just can't take anything for granted. And then, then you're back to Fitzroy Stars, I think, again, there's no break, is there, Matt?
No break, definitely. As Danny will say, they picked up a few blokes from Bundoora, like Proc and that. Their midfield with Jai Burns he is a quality footballer, and that's
He definitely
like
is.
I can see the reason why he's leading the coaches' votes by so much. Like he is gave us, chopped us up last year, to be honest. So, and then you throw Jai in there, and then they got Farrant, who's on a VFL list. So there's some good there's some good football players running around Div 3.
Yeah.
So
How did you find? Like, it felt like that. You're winning last quarters so often. It was like we see the halftime and 3-time quarter time score, and suddenly you'd be like a couple of goals down. Next thing you know, you've kind of just got over the line, or you've kicked plenty in the last quarter. Do you think it's a fitness thing, or do you think you just stick to your structures and eventually, I guess, you break the game open?
bit of both, maybe a bit lucky, bit of momentum. So look, we're pretty confident in the preseason. Like I said, we brought experienced heads in, like Chipper and Kieran Malone, Braden Taglieri. They're like Chipper, Captain Eltham, and like played a lot of VFL and that. So he's a quality player. It's just bringing in people that won't panic when it's not always going your way makes a big difference overall.
Yeah. I mean, we have a look at the rest of the results from the weekend as well, Matty. You've got Epping defeated by Fitzroy Stars, 98-75, so only 22 points. Whilst Epping would be a bit disappointed with the win, it's a good test to know where you're at, and you can regroup and build from that. Heidelberg West defeated by Kilmore at Heidelberg West. Probably expected Heidelberg West to win that at Heidelberg. I think I tipped them. Ivanhoe 54 beat Laylaw 34 again. Laylaw got a few injuries there as well, and they've still got guys standing up. I'm really happy to see them competing the way they are. King Lake defeated by Old Paradians. I think Gilmore was best on ground and only played 8 minutes, which is he's just every time I look and he's in the side, he's in the best. He should, he's a freak as we all know. And Reservoir, unfortunately, must have had a tough day at 2-4-16, defeated by your boys, mate, 123. That's a fair, that's a fair warning to everyone. We're going to go hard the whole way.
Oh, look, we probably caught, like, Reza probably need their best team in to be a bit more competitive, and we caught them at a weak moment. Like they had the captain out and a few other blokes that probably add some real structure to them. Like, they're trying to rebuild, they're trying to do something, and you can see what their coach is trying to do. Like he's pretty positive about where they're going, and it might not show it on the scoreboard, but I think he sees it moving in the right direction.
Danny KP, what's your biggest losing margin you can recall being part of?
Me and Danny were a part of some big losses at Coburg, but
I remember one too. There's one that sticks out.
I think Sandringham, 140. I think.
There was a couple against Box Hill as well, which weren't great. So we played in a few big losing margins, especially early days at Coburg together. And we're on the back of a couple big sprays too from Peter German back then.
I heard Peter German was very, very good at that. A mate of mine was when he was at, I think it was North or one of the, he said that if ever you were down by 4 goals at quarter time, everyone stood at the back and there was no one standing in front of him because he could very much go off.
If you were up by 4 goals, same thing, mate. You'd be coming for you. So.
Exactly. I think he once told me I was the worst player he'd ever seen play the game. I've been on the receiving end of a few times.
He had me in the headlock one day too. So.
Really? Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah.
He's an aggressive one. Well,
he's a good man. He's a good man. He's a great coach, but so I won't take that away from him. He's a great coach.
Very, very passionate man. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's passionate. I was not the headlock can get away with that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Matty, we wish you the best for the rest of the season. You guys are on fire. You've absolutely shocked me. I thought you'd be good. I didn't think you'd be as good as you have, which just shows I actually know nothing about football. But overall, I think you guys are killing it. And I think I watched a few of your younger blokes in that side really stand up when I was at the Mernda game, and and you ran on, and it's going to be a very tough end to Division 3. And, mate, if you can hang around for the show and take the piss out of Danny, that'd be great. But and if you've got to go, we totally understand. But, you know, it's great to have you on the show, and you're absolutely killing it. Another bag this weekend. 348 games, not too far away, mate. 2 away from your big 350. Is there a big plan for that?
Mate. I think it's 1 week really is 1 week at a time when you're 35, just to get through. I was just, it's funny. I was thinking when you said about people that got big floggings, I was just thinking back to when I was about 18, 19, and ran into Heidelberg at the peak of their powers, and Mickey Finn in the ruck gave me an absolute hiding, and I reckon they beat us by 160 points.
Wow. Yeah, no, I remember those back days with him. It was
Who was coaching them?
It would have been Plunkett, and I reckon it was Mick Finn off and Mick Gay on, and then they had Chris Hall at full forward, who was the strongest Dukes I've ever seen. He would just full stick, and then you'd go down to full forward and get some reprieve, and you just have Keno yelling in your freaking ear all night. Like it was a big day. So,
I think they're still at their height of their powers just for the...
I didn't mean that. Yes, no, I didn't mean it like that.
I'll let you and KP sort that out one day. We just find out. The rest of our 5 guys here are all pretty tough fellas, but hang on, there's a little message from my little buddy Bonners here. Hang on, I've got to put it up. Mate, your 2 little girls said, "Hi, Daddy, you're doing a great job."
Actually, downstairs, I'm wrapped that they haven't come screaming through the door going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So I'll take that as a win.
They are very good. All right, now we're gonna move over to you, Danny. You've had a huge weekend, but we won't let your bio get away from us. So let's go through this. Winner yesterday to get the season started, 284 games, 430 goals, best on ground 88 times in your career, and in the best 4 times this year already. Part of the leadership group. I know you're doing a fantastic job with the kids. I am down in Bundy most weeks watching it, as you know, my young bloke plays there. Thanks for coming on. How much did that win mean yesterday? I heard you guys yell that song, sing that song yesterday. It was amazing. It was like grand final feeling in there.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for that. But we sort of built it up that way the whole week, so we weren't shying away how big of a game it was throughout the whole week. I think that was the biggest thing. So backs have been against the wall around the footy club. Obviously, Bundy's a pretty proud club, so it was good. It's good to finally get the monkey off the back. I think the pleasing thing was probably the brand of footy we played the whole day. So we've been good in patches throughout the last 5 or 6 weeks, but I mean, reasonable over the 3.5 quarters yesterday. Probably let it slip the last 15 or 20 minutes, but I think that was the most pleasing is the way we went about it. But yeah, it was good to finally get that first W.
Who gave you the biggest kiss, mate? Was it Heathy Scotland? Did Paul King get one in your ear? Was the bloke standing on my left in a big square that kind of gave you the biggest one?
No, I reckon it was everyone. You know, and like, look, obviously PK was I think got a bit emotional, and you know he's done a mountain of work, and I think that was the biggest thing. It's not just so much for the players, but it's more so for everyone involved. For Scotto, obviously his first win. You know, having a top job, but you know, mainly for the committee and the supporters because they put in a mountain of work. So just to get a little bit of reward for effort was pleasing.
Yeah, I found watching the game yesterday. Personally, I thought defensively in the first, half, Danny, it really set you guys up. The defensive pressure was, for me, the difference in the first half yesterday. Certainly not taking anything away from Pete McAvoy, who kicked 6, and he was on fire. He's a man mountain. But that's from the games I've been to. I thought you really clicked defensively, really, really well yesterday.
Yeah, well, you bang on too. So, and I reckon for majority, everyone sort of played that role as well. But we've been training that over the past 3 or 4 weeks and really honed in on it over the past couple. Obviously, it's pretty tough when you come up against Heidelberg. They sort of pick you apart. So, but there was some good learning from that game. We were able to train that all last week. So it was good to finally, like I said, get some reward for it. But we by all means had a few debutants over the weekend as well. Probably didn't have our strongest team on the park that you'd say over the past couple of years. But like I said, it didn't really matter because everyone sort of chimed in, which was the most pleasing part.
Now, Keenan, you're probably never going to hear a bloke like Com to these forwards giving the backman any pat on the back. So to hear that coming out of his mouth right now, it's probably you're never going to ever hear that again. So we'll take that as an actual win. Apparently there was a bloke called Comp running off half back that had a pretty good run yesterday. I've been told about it on many different occasions. How are the young blokes coming through?
Get
him on the TV.
Get him on.
Come on, you've ruined this.
Go and get some red cordial and get on.
Yeah, I might jump out, boys.
You're right. No worries, Matty.
Well?
It's a good point you bring up because there is like obviously Compy. Daz's son, watching him grow over the past, 5 or 6 weeks, even just his preseason as well. So I think obviously a lot of people did leave the club yesterday, last year. So it's brought opportunity for blokes like Compy, Liam Malia, who's taken up another scalp and, really taken good development this year. Harry Butterworth, I reckon, has definitely changed gears, especially over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So watching his footy develop has been pleasing. So I think that's been one of the most pleasing things, just watching these young boys coming through and developing their game week to week. And that's what it is. It's you get rapid development when you're at your young, young end of your career. So they'll keep growing, like I said, week to week.
KP, you wouldn't know what a loss feels like at the moment for the last 17 years, but in the event that you have to go back far enough in your career, it can be debilitating just not getting that first one off the mark. You've obviously been there over the years, I'm sure, but how do you deal with that?
Definitely. I've only been successful in my senior career at Heidelberg. So my whole senior career at Northern Blues and Coburg were pretty tough. So, I certainly know. I think in 2017, when Danny had just left, I think for Coburg, we didn't win a game till round 12. So definitely know what it feels like. But it's like those first wins, as you boys said before, it sort of feels like a grand final. Weights lifted off the shoulders and the boys actually get to enjoy themselves that night. And you talk about the win more than anything when you're in those circumstances. But especially for young blokes as well, especially at senior footy, it's such a big thing to get some wins on the board for young guys who are putting in a lot of effort. So I was really glad to see that Bundy got one yesterday. It was good.
Yeah, I could pretty much say that I reckon I've had as many wins at Preston as you've had this last 2 years at Heidelberg in 5 years. So I actually know coming from the back in the day, it's always been, I reckon, the northern kind of teams, the Coburgs. I know Bullants, when I was there, it was always, we were hoping to play each other every week. So at least it'd be really good to kind of get a win each week. Probably play each other 2 or 3 times. So,
I thought it was worth putting that up.
Robbie,
I said to Robbie yesterday, everyone reckons you're a real hard ass on the field, but he's such a lovely, softly spoken gentleman, but he hasn't missed the cheap jab here.
He's pressing me. He's been pressing me. He's been pressing me the last couple of hours. I didn't want to give him a plug, but we're going to have to now. The two-timer.
The two-timer.
Four three-timer, maybe.
Much of a nudge.
I had a rumor today, and Robbie, you're watching, you can confirm or deny. Was Robbie Marinara 0-6 at West Preston and won a flag? Is that true or not true?
It's true. Yeah, it is true. Yeah, it definitely is true.
Well, so you thinking flag here, Danny?
No, we're not thinking flag. It was good, obviously, to get the win, but as KP would know, you sort of just need to get rolling straight away. We sort of told the young boys, celebrate, have a couple of beers, but we've got Banyul this week, so they're humming at the moment. So, we've got to prepare and go again.
KP, a question for you.
Yes.
I got to actually, speaking of Banyul, I reckon I saw one of the best games I've seen in a few years when you guys played Banyul at Banyul. I reckon if they had a kick straight, it would have been the most amazing last quarter in that first half of the third quarter. I mean, everyone says it was 30 points, but it didn't feel like it. But I found that day and watching your good self, I found the way like I know Vinny's way of playing, and it's a lot off the attacking back line, and you guys seem to have that in spades. So I find that's probably for me the most, I guess, rewarding thing that you guys are doing is just the way you guys attack off half back and the back pocket. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's good. I think it is really good. Like Vinny's quite harps on the fact that we need to use it by foot out of the back line, and we try and launch off the half back line to go forward. But, you know, the players that we have in the back line at the moment are genuinely really good players. And they've been around for a few years now, and they know the level. And, you know, it's amazing what can happen when you have a few years together and everyone knows, you know, each other's games and what we want to do. So we do springboard really well. The problem at the moment is kicking inside 50 for us. We seem to not want to kick it to our forwards. We like to kick it to the spare back. So something to work on this week. But, yeah, it's been really good. And that Banyul game was a great game. I actually really like the way Banyul go about it. They're a bit like us. They chip it around and, they're really good. Yeah.
Danny, I'm going to ask you, as you can tell, I ask the serious, hard-hitting questions here, okay? So brace yourself for this. This is going to cause shockwaves through Division 1. But I have no idea how Luke Collins thinks he can walk back into that side. He's going to have to come through the twos.
He'll be nervous. He'll definitely be nervous.
Luke is my favourite player. I love the way he goes about it, and I did see him eating some quality potato cakes before the game yesterday, and he looked like he really enjoyed it. But I'm thinking of the quality of guys that you've got to come back into that side, as well as Zane Barker. Once he's over his concussion, he'll be back in. You've got Luke Collins to come back in. You got stars everywhere. I had a look at your bench, not your bench, the guys standing next to the bench that were injured yesterday. You got 6 or 7 quality guys to come back.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jacko Davies will put his hand up this week. Jack Maraff will get back from a hammy. Zane Barker, and then obviously Luke Collins as well. If he's right to go, that is. So it's a good 3 or 4 to come back in, which will be great. Like I said, I'm not sure who will come out, but we'll see how we track. We sort of can't get too ahead of ourselves because someone could ping a hammy come Tuesday. But yeah, it is exciting.
I seen Heath Scotland smile yesterday.
Yeah, that was the most pleasing thing, you know, because it's been like I said, it's been pretty tough for him, but full credit to him as well because he's maintained a pretty level head, you know, throughout, and you know, kept grinding away. Coach was the same, you know, really doubled down at times as well, even with reviews. His intensities remain the same enthusiasm. So we're actually very, very lucky to have someone of his caliber and his experience. But even all our coaching staff and saying that, and Robbie with his experience that he's had, Hanai's again, and then you throw him, you know, Bolton with the twos coach as well. So we're pretty lucky at Bundura with the coaching staff that we have.
So take us through the most important part of the social club on Saturday night. Was it rocking, and did Dean Sheriff get up and sing?
We actually played away. So
yeah, I know. Did you go back afterwards?
No, we didn't go back. No, we didn't go back. It has, yeah. Money
over the bar, and
look, we won it. We won in 5. So if we're 5-1, maybe different story.
Don't disappear, Danny. We're going to quickly go back over to Keenan, but I've got a serious question to ask the both of you at the end of the show, and it's very, very important. It's high ranking, this question, Danny and Keenan. But let's go over to Keenan Posar, captain of Heidelberg, 208 games, 45 goals, and he's been in the best 49 times. So 25% of his games he's been in the best. The other 75% he's just taken it easy. Best player in 4 of the last 7 outings this season. 1 game clear of a very improved Hurstbridge and Banyul. Got West Preston this week after the loss to Bundy. Let's be honest with each other, Keenan. You don't actually fear anybody in Division 1, do you?
No, not fear. But no, not fear. But we do enjoy, like, I think we as a team and club want to, you know, you want to play in the big games. So we love the games against Monty, Bundura, West when they were going well, North. We love those games. So, no, we don't quite fear anyone, but it's just, it's good to get up for those games.
and you've been under Vinny for a few years now. I've had a lot of experience with him. He's mellowed, which still breaks my heart because the amount of rubbish that he used to throw at us. How have you find him as a calming influence? And I know he's very good and probably one of the smartest football brains I reckon I've seen in local footy. How's he been for you?
Yeah, he's been awesome. Me and Vinny get along very, very well. We're quite similar in the way that we look at the game as well and how we read it. So it's been a really good pairing, him and I, and I've really enjoyed it. But it's funny, the first year I was at Heidelberg, we had Danny Younan, obviously, and he was so different to Vinny. So it's funny to see that we've had success with two coaches that were very, very different. But Vinny's great, and he's super smart, and he loves playing the young guys, which I think is very important for any club to get your young guys coming through. Because his development work is second to none. I've never really seen a coach like it. He takes a lot of time with all these players, so it's been really good.
I think history of when I played footy is I only can remember once or twice where we seem to have that camaraderie within and like really got it perfect, I see from the outside, from the games, and I watch most of the replays each week to try and get an idea of the games. And you guys just look like you're just so well gelled and in line with each other. When you just know what someone's going to do, where they're going to kick it, where they're going to give it. And for me, that's worth, 20 project points, for the side. Yeah, that sort of gives you a 2 to 3 goal head start each week. Yeah. Do you agree that you have that perfect, gelling? And if so, what's the reason? Why is it happening that way?
Yeah, I think we do. And I think the reason is because right from the 19s to the seniors, it's all the same message. It's the same game plan. It's the same message that it's been for 3 or 4 years now. So whenever someone comes into the side from the 19s or the resis, they know exactly how the game works and how the team works, and vice versa. As I said before, the team has been around together now mostly for the best part of 3 years, and it pays dividends in the long run because everyone now knows exactly how you play. Everyone trusts each other, and obviously when you trust your coach as well, it does go a long way. And it's funny, they're all there's no dickheads at Heidelberg, which is a great thing as well. So everyone gets along really well, and it's just a really, really good bunch of boys.
And we saw over pre-season, we thought we couldn't believe the numbers there as well. So I think also the pressure for spots, once you get in, you have to play your role because you may not get another opportunity. And I reckon that kind of, competition for spots can only make the team go better.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a tough thing when it comes to selection that there's blokes that should be playing and they're playing really well in the resis and the 19s and they can't get a look just because we're sort of going really well at the moment. And we've got guys coming from VFL, which is we're also very lucky with who buy in quite well. So you've just got to try and, have them develop as well as you can and keep being really positive and that they'll get their shot. And hopefully when they do, they get to keep their spot.
Danny, you played obviously Heidelberg a couple of weeks ago. How do you go in, at that point you guys are winless and you're going in against, a real unstoppable side like that? You were competitive for a majority of the game. I watched the game back. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I never felt like Bandura was going to win on the day watching the replay. But how do you go into a game like that? Because the battles between Heidelberg and Bandura are equivalent to Carlton Collingwood. It doesn't matter where you are on the ladder.
Yeah.
I'm positive KP would have been thinking, we don't want to drop this one. These guys are going to come and try and make a statement. And you would have been thinking, gee, it would be nice to get one to rebuild our season.
Oh yeah, it's quick credit to Scotto because we're still winning, and we have been every time we play, thinking we can get the job done. We haven't beaten them for I think it's been 3 years now, so that's quite evident. But I guess I think everyone knows how they sort of play, but you got to go out and actually put it to practice as well. So which is quite a tough thing because like I said, they are a well-drilled footy team, and they've got a lot of leaders around there. And like I said, they've played footy for 3-4 years on end. So, and I guess the respect to them is that they've lost probably 5 or 6 A graders that have come out of that footy team. But the next 5 that have come in, and it's just like a seamless transition. So speaks volumes of their program that they're running, and obviously KP being at the forefront of the captaincy as well, which is a credit to him.
I reckon back in the day it all started. We used to, all the Preston boys came back to either Heidelberg or Bundoora. So I reckon it started back then when everyone just had to get the one up on each other. And even to this day, I still catch up with mates through there. And it's always nice to get one up on blokes you played footy with. So I think that's sometimes the best part of it. You just want to kind of, all right, we got you there or they got us there. So I reckon that part of footy and what VFL coming down to Northern Footy League, I reckon that does a great thing. You have such great camaraderie, which I see you guys through Coburg as well. You get to play against each other and you just want to get that one up on each other.
Yes.
It's
been a good couple of years.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a footy factory down there, Bonners, though, isn't it? Like, Vin's got a serious footy factory going on down there. The numbers down there, I think the night we were down there where we spoke to you, KP, where you were announced to be captain of the year and, you've stepped into those shoes, piece of cake. And, but you have the depth and then you see Bundoora that's going clearly through a bit of a rebuild, but have, I love personally, I sort of have an inside view, as someone that goes down and watches Bundy most weeks, but I watch guys like Danny nurture kids and Filthy Nipper's not there this year because he and Danny together, they were like, the parents that just grab these kids and walk them through. If you had to step into that role, surely you've had to this year as a captain, you've just got to get a few guys, up. How are those kids coming through? Because you say you have the same message all the way through. It's a responsibility of yours now, KP, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. And I think Danny has always been like that, especially when I was quite young and I went to Coburg. Danny has never changed. He's always been an exceptional leader and has always wrapped his arms around young guys to support them. So I guess I've sort of learnt off him and Nathan Thomas as well, who I played with at Coburg, who's at Bundy as well. I think it's just being sort of their mate in the end. Like, everyone's sort of got the talent to be a good player in Division 1 footy. It's all about, making sure if they are down or if they're not, particularly having a good run, that it's just footy at the end of the day and things can turn in 1 week. So, yeah, we certainly have had to, help a few young guys out who really should be playing, but, can't find a way in. But they'll get their chance. There's no doubt.
And a question to you, Danny. It's coming through. You're probably at the other end of the scale. You're now trying to develop what I guess Heidelberg's got, get that group together, try and keep everyone together, get to know how each other plays. How do you go into each game? Knowing you got a lot of these young kids, do you try and direct them in the right way? Do you find at times you get frustrated? How do you see it?
Yeah, I'm still trying to probably find that balance between. I've actually got to go out and actually get a kick myself as well, just for my own confidence. But more so, if I'm getting a kick, then I can instill that confidence to other people. But it's definitely starting to shift now, where I've got to try and coach that, and that's probably another step in my development, as in be able to coach on field as best as I can. But it's more or less my Tuesdays or Monday nights will be spent. Just making sure I just, cut some edits for any of the young kids and be able to showcase that through edits. I think showing footage to younger kids is a massive way to get their development at a rapid rate. So that's probably my biggest thing, is more so Monday to Friday, just spending some time with one-on-one time with the younger boys.
Yeah, very impressive. I just want to go through these results for you for the rest of Division 1. So Hurstbridge defeated McLeod 142-36. McLeod is in for a tough year indeed. Greensborough defeated by Heidelberg 30 points, and that was a really strong win, KP, because I actually thought it'd be a bit closer than that, not because I thought, you guys or they weren't good enough or you guys. I just thought it would be in maybe some wetter conditions, damper conditions, it would have been closer. Do you feel like you controlled that game all day?
Yeah, certainly controlled it all day. Again, like our ball movement through backline to midfield is just, going really well at the moment. It's just, as I said before, just our forward line entries just needs a bit of work at the moment because, we seem to be kicking it to the spare every week. and not giving the forwards a good chance. So I certainly thought we were in full control. But, yeah, they're pretty good, Greensy, though. They had a good crack. So it was a good game in the end.
They're going to be thereabouts. There's no doubt about that. And West Preston Lakeside went down to the mighty Bulls, led heavily there from Danny. I think Danny had about 72 touches for the day, and there's nothing wrong with the fib if we believe it. North Heidelberg defeated by Monty. Now, that was a decent kick up the bum there from 38 points, and Banyule defeated Eltham. But Eltham, again, they were with it for most of the day and just couldn't get done. My player of the week, Bonners, I'm going to give player of the week this week, and selfishly because I was there, but I watched Pete McAvoy kick 6 of the best goals and take 6 well-earned hard marks to get those 6 goals. He was outstanding, wasn't he, Danny?
He was, yeah. He's been outstanding all year. He's just he's an unbelievable workhorse, man. Watching, and KP will know because he played a bit of footy with him, but he just doesn't stop all day, and he just throws everything at it. He comes off spent every week, and he's had a few stitches put in his head this year, but he just he's an absolute workhorse. Yeah, we're lucky to have him.
Very good.
Done really well. Now, Bonners, my question for these two, and only you can answer it, Bonners, initially, right? So we've seen a lot of AFL celebrities jump in the ring. I want to know, KP and Danny jump in the ring together, right? It's a 3-round match, 2 minutes around. Who's favourite? You know both these boys. Who's favourite? I know Danny's 35 years older than KP, but who's winning this?
I can tell you pretty easy because I know that KP would have Vinny and Sav training him. So I've got to actually put it on KP just because of the training regime, I reckon, that they put him under. But I reckon the stare of Danny might actually, put the fear of God in the team.
I wouldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat, boys. It'd be Danny all the way.
KP's got the reach on me, mate. He's got the reach.
I think I'm going Danny because he'd just be smiling at him. Danny doesn't stop smiling. You could be punching him in the grounds and he just had this big cheesy grin at you. Yeah. This guy doesn't die. I just want to finish off on 2 other things. So we did have 2 $50 winners who both tipped Hurstbridge by 33 points on the weekend. Cam Wild tipping his own team, well done, and Tyrone Loader both did that. So that's thanks to Waytech and Sons Rendering, or Waytech Rendering and Westbury Property Maintenance. They'll both get their $50. Mitch Antonello's just sent me something through saying reckons he tipped it. Disqualified just because you didn't get enough tap outs in the end. 50's not enough in a game. 50's not enough in a game. This Wednesday night, we have a real important show, Bonners. As you know, ex-AFL superstar Sean Smith is joining us in the studio to talk about the ramifications of concussion and his struggles with concussions after footy. And if I get one message across this year, it would be for everyone to tune in and watch that show because, as KP said before, it's just a game of footy at the end of the day, and we all want to be there to play with the kids and grandkids at the end of it. And we just really need to give concussion its due course. KP and Danny, you have been megastars on here tonight. Thank you so much for freeing up some time on your Sunday night and putting up with Bonners' rubbish as usual, which we all have to do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. And Dad, please just go easy and Matt. Moving forward.
Look after him, mate.
Sit him down, Matty. I'll be watching and I'll just poke at him. I'll have a chat with him.
He gave me hell on the cricket field for years, Danny. You'll never know the things he said to me on the cricket field, and he was on my side, were horrific.
And that's because you ran me out, you dog.
Yeah, well, it was you or me. Someone had to go. All right, guys. Until next week, thank you so much. Tomorrow night, we have the women's show. Quick shout out to Jasmine, who is going to come on tomorrow night. I understand she's just broken her leg. Her bone is poking out of her body tonight after the game. So all of our love to Tasman. We'll check in on her. I've just got to text Olivia. Played against them today, but we don't want any of that to ever happen. So we'll reach out, and she's a favourite of the show. Wednesday night, tomorrow night, the girls are live at 7:30. Kira and Liv will host a show Wednesday. We have Sean Smith on. Until then, everyone, keep kicking goals, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, boys. See you, Danny.